back to my computer learning series. Learning computer with seeing the beautiful greeny sights of Bharatiya or Indian village. In this lecture, firstly I would like to talk about command interpreter. Before starting my lecture, I like to tell Jai Sri Ram, Sita Ram, Jai Bajrangbali, Jai Hanuman. Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya. Now come to our point. Command interpretation module of an operating system provides a set of commands which user use to give instructions to a computer for execution of their jobs. Commands supported by command interpretation modules are known as system calls. When a user gives instructions to a computer by using these system calls, command interpreter interprets these commands and directs the computer's resources to handle the user's request. Hence, command interpreter provides a user interface to hide hardware details of a system from its user. In this manner, it contributes greatly to the ease of use objective of an operating system. Modern operating system has following two broad categories of user interfaces. The first one is command line interface. User gives instruction to computer by typing commands in this textual user interface. For example, in the operating system Unix, a user has to type rm space report.txt to delete a file named report.txt. If a user types a command incorrectly, command interpreter responds with a message indicating that it does not understand the command. When this happens, the user has to retype the command correctly. There is no problem in typing simple commands like the one above. However, users often need to give detailed instruction to computer about their jobs. For example, while submitting a job for execution, a user may need to supply the following information like software and hardware resource requirements of the job, his or her identification for security and accounting purposes, input output device requirements of the job, directories that contain the data files which the job will use during execution, action that the system needs to take, an exceptional condition such as when the input data is missing or incorrect, or when an input output device malfunctions. To facilitate this system that supports command line interface also supports some type of command language abbreviated as CL, or job control language abbreviated as JCL. Now user can write codes in job control language to give detailed instruction to computer about their jobs. Command interpreters interpret codes written in JCL and invoke appropriate system actions. The next category is the graphical user interface. User interface, that is graphical user interface. User interface plays an important role in case of use of a computer system. An intuitive user interface allows a user to use the system effectively when if she has never used it before. Such a user interface is called user friendly. Graphical user interface, or abbreviated as GUI, pronounced GUI, is easier to learn and use than command line interface. Unlike command line interface, in which commands are textual, GUI commands are graphical pictorial. Graphical user interface provides a screen full of graphic icons, a small image on the screen, or menus, and allows a user to make rapid selection from these icons or menus items to give instruction to computers. A user uses a point and draw device to point to and select a graphic icon or a menu item from multiple options on the screen. For example, in case of command line interface, to delete a file report.txt, a user need to type a command like rm space report.txt. However, with graphical user interface, the user can perform the same operation by using a mouse to drag the icon, which represents the file, to superimpose it on an icon having shape like trash chain. Then simply releasing the mouse button causes the file to disappear into the bulging trash chain. Now let's talk about the next topic in this lecture series is the security. Computer security deals with protecting various resources and information of a computer system against destruction and unauthorized access. It involves both external and internal security. External security deals with securing a computer system against external factors like fires, floods, earthquakes, stolen disks and tapes, leaking out of stored information by a person who has access to information, and etc. The commonly used method for external security include maintaining backup copies of stored information at places far away from original information, using security guards to allow entry of authorized persons only into computer centers, allowing access to sensitive information to trusted employees, users only. Internal security, on the other hand, mainly deals with these aspects, like access control. Often many users have a computer system which contains many resources and several types of information. Obviously, not all resources and information of the computer systems are meant for all users. Therefore, even when a user passes user authentication phases and is allowed to use a computer, the system needs to have some mechanism to restrict the user's access to those resources or information that he is authorized to access. Access control mechanisms take care of this requirement. Operating systems normally maintain access control list, abbreviated as ACLs, to implement access control. Access control List specify which users can have what types of access on the various system resources. Next, next aspect is user authentications. Once a user is allowed physical access to a computer, the computer must check the user's identification before allowing the user to use it. User authentication mechanisms take care of this requirement. Password used for logging into a computer, electronic card used in a bank ATM, and biometric devices that verify some unique physical characteristics of a user like fingerprint, face appearance, voice, hand geometry, etc. are some commonly used user authentication mechanism. The third one is cryptography. Even if a user somehow managed to gain access to some information that he is not authorized to access, the system needs to have some mechanism to ensure that the user cannot make use of that information. Cryptography mechanisms take care of this requirement. They work on the idea of encryption. Now let's talk about the next topic in this lecture is OS capability enhancement software. So I think the viewer of this channel is enjoying my lecture, that is seeing the beautiful sights of Indian village and learning computer. So these are the very greeny and beautiful sights, and your mind is seeing this sight becomes full with happiness. So I would like to make such type of video in which you get knowledge as well as your mind keep get pleasant. Now let's come to the topics. The next topic is OS capability enhancement software. User often performs several routine nature tasks on their computers. For example, compilation of programs, sorting of file contents, and taking backup of important files and tasks of such nature. Not all computer users can write their own programs for performing these tasks. Even if they could write, it would be wasteful if each user spent time developing these programs. This gap between functionality of an operating system and need for these frequently used programs created a market for a special category of software which enhances the capability of an operating system. Either operating system vendors or third-party software vendors supply such software. Normally, generally we group them into three categories: library programs, translating programs, and utility programs. Now see these programs one by one. Translating programs. It is also known as language processor and are system programs that translate a source program written by a user to an object program that is code meaningful to the computer hardware. These include assemblers, compilers, and interpreters. This category of software also includes other programs development tools used for testing and debugging of programs. Next one is library programs. Library program consists of frequently used functions and operations. Commonly used library programs include programs to compute mathematical functions such as sine, cosine, square root, logarithmic of numbers, etc. Programs to convert numbers from one base to another, such as binary to octal, octal to binary, binary to decimal, and decimal to binary. Programs to perform mathematical operations such as matrix multiplication, statistical analysis, and matrix inversion. String processing programs such as those that perform string comparison, string copy, string concatenation, and calculation of length of a string, that is number of characters in it. And file manipulation programs such as those for sorting, merging, concatenating, searching, and editing of the files. Now utility programs. Now utility programs. Let's see. Utility programs assist users in system maintenance tasks such as disk formatting, data compression, data backup, and scanning a system of computer virus. Some frequently used utility programs are: first, data compression utility. This utility uses a compression algorithm to transform files into a fraction of their normal size so that they occupy less storage space on disk, or the system can transfer them across a network in less time. It has an associated decompression algorithm which it uses to convert a compressed file into its normal file. It helps management saving of disk space. The next one is disk formatting utility. To use a new disk or hard disk or optical disk on a computer system, a user need to format it according to the requirements of computer operating system. Disk formatting utility enables user to perform this task with great ease. So I think you are enjoying my lecture series Learning Computer, with seeing the greeny and beautiful sights of Indian village. The next point is in this is that data backup utility. So let's talk about data backup utility. A disk crash, virus, hardware malfunction, accidental deletion of files, or natural disaster like fire, earthquake, etc. can cause damage, loss of data in computer system. Hence, we must keep extra copies, which is called backup data of important data. A backup utility enables a user to create copy of data on some storage media, such like CD, pen drive, magnetic tape, etc., from another storage media, such as hard disk. In the event of damage or loss of data, the user can restore it from the backup media. However, it is not necessary to keep the backup media offline. Some computer systems keep their backup devices online at a place away from main system. They use high-speed communication network between the backup device and main system and perform automatic data backup operation over the network. The next one is antivirus utility. A computer virus is a piece of code attached to a legitimate program that, when executed, infects other programs in a system by replicating and attaching itself to them. In addition to this replicating effect, a virus normally does some other damage to the system, such as corrupting, erasing the files. Therefore, due to its spreading nature, a virus can cause severe damage to a system. Now let's see how typical virus works. A intruder writes a new program that performs some interesting or useful function, such as some game or utility, and attach a virus to it in such a way that When anyone executes the program on his her system, the system executes the viral code along with the program. The intruder then sends this infected program by mail to other system user or offer it free or for a nominal charge. Now, if anyone uses the infected program on his her system, the system executes its viral code. During its execution, the viral code selects an executable, executable program file on a hard disk randomly and check if it has already infected the file. Most viruses include a string of characters that act as a marker showing that a file is infected. If the selected file is already infected, the virus selects another executable file. When the virus finds an uninfected file, it infects its program by attaching a copy of itself to the end of that program and replacing the first instruction of the program with a jump to viral code. When execution of viral code finishes, it executes the previously bypassed instruction and then jump to the second instruction so that program now performs its intended function. Notice that a virus spread because every time the system executes an infected program, the virus tries to infect more program. Also notice that a virus does not infect an already infected file in order to prevent an object file from growing ever longer. This allows a virus to infect many programs without increasing disk space usage noticeably. So when a computer system suffers from virus infection, the user needs to cure it. To cure an infected system, user use antivirus utilities. These utilities first identify the type of virus that has infected the computer by matching its marker against markers of well-known viruses. Once the utility has identified the types of virus which has infected the system, it restores original programs from their infected version by applying a detailed knowledge of the infection method used by virus. A good antivirus utility can cure several hundred types of virus. Suppliers of antivirus utilities keep improving the capability of their antivirus utilities to enable them to cure larger type of viruses by updating them frequently. And when they discover new types of viruses, new generation antivirus application employ heuristic analyzer to monitor virus like activity and processing to tag or block memory containing seemingly dangerous instructions. This mechanism creates a working solution to tackle new viruses. So with this description, I would like to end this lecture at this point, and I think you are enjoying my such type of lecture series, that is learning computer with seeing the greeny, beautiful, natural sides of Bharatiya village or Indian village and enjoying my lecture. So, Jai Sitaram, Jai Bajrangbali, Jai Hanuman, Om Namah Shivaya.